Now let's get it started. Let's get it started.
Play ball!
Since taking over Manchester United, Amorim have coached Manchester United for 22 games in the Premier League. They have lost 11 of those games. In this particular game, Wolves beat them at Old Trafford 1-0. Sarabia scoring that lovely free kick at the 77 minutes of that game. It's another loss for Amorim, even though he's rested some of the key players, but losing at Old Trafford again is not a good thing for him. Okay, if you look at that game, 11 Premier League, 22 goals, 22 games, you are losing almost half of it. It doesn't make sense.
Yes.
And yeah, Old Trafford is not what it used to be. What do you think needs to change first for Manchester United?
You know, the fundamental problem here, the Bible says that, my son, if sin has enticed you, say no. You know, the fundamental cause of his problems is taking that job before the end of the season or before the January. He would have waited, because there's a lot of things that are going to mean, which is number one, Manchester United, if it was a club that had a structure, that had a backroom staff, that had all of these things put in place, and you're just coming to come and complete the setup, is a better move coming in the way you did in the middle of the season. But now to come in at the middle of the season and insist everybody play your style, number one. Number two is to come in and say, no, you're not going to adapt. It's 6 wins, 5 draws, and 11 losses right now for him and Manchester United. And for all of the progress fans are saying they are seeing in glimmers and flashes, for all of the changes he's bringing into the club, you feel somehow, because, okay, the recent statement is after qualifying in the Europa League, they say they are going to focus on the Europa League because it's their quickest path to Champions League football, and they're going to field children in the Premier League. The problem with that is that when you lose games like you've lost now, your job is under pressure.
Even though I don't think his job is under pressure, because they have to give him time, but I don't think it makes sense, especially playing at home, losing at home. So many games they have lost at home. Now, we keep saying it on this show that Old Trafford is not what it used to be. Like, if, for example, if you go to the Emirates or even go to Stamford Bridge, even though you might get a win, but it's going to be tough. But anybody can go to the theater of dreams these days and dream. Okay, but if you look at that well-taken goal in the second half of that goal, it was a lovely free kick. It was just introduced just 5 minutes after the introduction. Free kick, bam, lovely free kick. Onana was stretching that he couldn't even reach that free kick.
It's crazy. Like, when I saw the starting lineup and Bruno wasn't available, I just said, red flag, we are going to see a problem here. Secondly, when I saw the starting lineup and it's Menu and this other man beside him, Menu Garnacho, I don't know if that's the case. Behind the star man up front, which is Rasmus Højlund, I said that's
who is star? Who is star? Who is star?
When they sign you for 85 million or 100 million, and you are a star player, you understand me?
Okay.
Now it's now the ability to bring out that stardom out of you that's the issue. But I felt that the midfield with what's his name, Eriksen and Casemiro and Ugarte was flat. You don't have 3 of the same type of players in that midfield. Nobody is going to run for you. Nobody is going to work for you. I felt Menu should have played there, and somebody else who is more attacking should play in that second 10 up front for Manchester United, and it wasn't to be. And secondly, if you look at that game, there is nothing you saw from Manchester United that had you believe that these guys were going to come in with 3 points. You know, you are not running enough. You get opportunities, you are not taking them as much as you should, and the entire team is not working hard enough. Okay, of course, there were 2 young players introduced into the game that started, Harry and Mass on the left, and then Fredrickson in the CM in the center back position. But you know, it wasn't good enough.
But if you look at, let's talk about the striker. I think the part of Manchester United problem is still that striker position. I keep saying it, even though if you want to play that Amorim style, your striker, because if you look at that formation, for example, when Conte was at Chelsea, he started with a 4-4-2. It didn't work, he switched. But he had a striker that was scoring goals. Costa was there, and he had creative midfielders like Hazard and Fabregas and others. But he needed a clinical striker, and had Costa. So that system worked. Do you understand? For example, even if you check him at Napoli or whatever, he has a striker that scores a whole lot of goals. For you to play that kind of formation that Manchester United is playing now, you need a good strike, and Højlund is not giving them that option. What do you think will happen to Højlund this summer? Because again, he was flat.
The most disappointing thing for Amorim is that in the January window, when he had the chance to bring in a couple of players, there was no way Manchester United could have brought in a striker for him, because of course they have to balance the books. You know, according to the PSR, if you make more than 109 million loss in 3 years, you're entitled to, you know, you breach the PSR. And as it is, barring a couple of these that will happen this summer, they are close to breach, if not already in breach already. So the lack of that marquee signing coming in January has affected him terribly, because Højlund is not scoring. I think he's on 3 or 4
goals
so far in the whole season. And then Zescu is also out injured, isn't scoring as well. And the wise thing to do would have been to, okay, these guys are not scoring for me, rest one side, bring in Chido Martinobi, even though he's young, give him a running. At least Bani you you rescue something out of the games, but he's not giving you the chance. And these other players that he has in the side are not delivering. So you have to work something. We all agree on this show that he's a tinkerer, because of course he tinkered with the Man U setup for this encounter. But none of his tinkering
started from the
right instead of from the left, which he was brought in to play. Mazraoui played as one of the 3 centre halves in the back, and Amas played in that left position, which Mazraoui should have played in the right and don't go on the left. We granted he's a tinkerer, but none of his tinkering has affected the forward line, just the back line. It makes me wonder if there's no intention, or if he doesn't see a problem with the forward line.
But he doesn't have a choice. He had to go to the summer and bring in another striker. You know,
yeah, your correct is available. Maybe because there's an agreement in place to get a marquee signing in January, but you have a couple of games till that January before you, or till the summer before you can make that sign. At least there should be an effort. We've been crying that the strikers are not getting enough supply, they're not getting enough service, they're not getting enough assist, they're not getting enough passes in the final third. I've never seen him talk about that as a problem in the press conferences. 1, I've never seen him address it in the way the team play. Number 2, and then if I'm worried because he's a greater threat, if he's not seeing it as a problem, then we have to question his tactical moves and his qualifications as a coach. But if he's seeing it and his solution to that problem is waiting for the summer
to address it,
that means none of those 2 guys playing in that position are going to stay.
Okay, Højlund again did not score in this game. Manchester United did not score. They had a couple of chances to score in that game, but they could not score. But Old Trafford has not been what it is in a couple of years. Even since the Hag took over, they have lost a couple of games, many games. Like I think this is one of the worst seasons. Past 2 years have been one of the worst seasons of Manchester United fans and everywhere in the whole world.
Prior to this season, if you ask the Manchester United a home game, who is going to win?
Against Wolves.
Everybody will say Manchester, but this season,
Wolves,
everybody like, look, Manchester United is going to lose against Wolves. The fact that the fan base is already negative tells you that they are the darkest hour right now.
Yes, they are need to find a way to change the mentality. I think the first thing they need to do is change the mentality of the whole club, because that was part of the thing Arteta did. He changed the mentality. You have to see yourself as a champion first. Even against it was asked before this game against Real Madrid. He said that it was a mentality thing, that they are seeing themselves as a big club that can challenge Real Madrid. That's why they were able to actually play Madrid and win. So I think that's first thing Amorim needs to do, to change the mentality of the whole club, including the fans. The fans need to believe in something, but they need to show them something to believe. But for Wolves have already survived this relegation. I think at some point they were in danger, but these 3 points actually sealed everything for them. So they are going to play the Premier League next season.